Hello everyone, this is Bob Souza speaking from historic Main Street in Somerset Village. Today my special guest on Out of the Park is a great man at Somerset High School, involved in classroom teaching plus athletic training, and without him the athletes in Somerset would have suffered greatly. I consider myself very fortunate today to have in studio the great Mike Pomerleau. Mike, welcome to Somerset again.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you very much.
I know you got your start with us in August of 1976, stayed 33 years, retired 2009. And of course, what that meant was 99 sports seasons, 33 times 3. You went round the clock ministering to the needs of the athletes. And I'll tell you, Mike, we had more students at Somerset High who wanted to be trainers, physical therapists, nurses, and even doctors because of your inspirational leadership and instruction. So, Mike, a few words going back to 1976 first, please.
Well, I had heard about the job at Somerset through the head trainer at UMass, a guy by the name of Vic Keaty. He called our house in Lanesboro and told us that SMU was looking for an ice hockey trainer. And he gave me Marie Snyder's name. So I called Marie, and she said, no, I'm not. The job is not at SMU. The job is at Somerset High School. I'm on the school committee. So I had her send me an application. I filled it out, and a couple of weeks later, I got a phone call from the famous Frank Kilgrew inviting me down to have an interview. So I came down in June of '76 and sat with Frank, and we talked, and he liked me, and I liked him, and I went to the high school, and I met Carl McDermott, and Ed Winslow was there too, and we had a nice chat, and they offered me the job, and I took it.
Wow, that's terrific. Mrs. Snyder, Marie Snyder, the late Marie Snyder, served on school committee here in Somerset for many years. Her son Kevin was an outstanding ice hockey player.
Outstanding defenseman, yes.
Right, he graduated in 1978, and since 2003, he has been the head coach of ice hockey here at Somerset, and you probably
I worked with him.
him.
Oh, yes.
Well, terrific. Let's go back, turn the hands of time back to Lanesboro, which is in the greater Pittsfield area.
It's north of Pittsfield, yes, in the Berkshires.
Could you tell us what it was like growing up in that area?
Well, it was a rural community, much like Berkeley. I went to a regional high school in Williamstown, and it was fun growing up there. A nice place to live, nice place to bring up a family. But I wanted to move on. I wanted to move into a situation where I could move into a college position, and I thought that Somerset would be the place to be.
Okay, following your days of high school, in which you graduated, what year in which you graduated?
I graduated in 1968.
68, okay. Then it was on to UMass Amherst and major
Phys ed.
Major was
Phys ed. There was no athletic training major back in those days. So I majored in phys ed, and I worked in the athletic training room with the football team at UMass Amherst.
Okay, that was good background for you.
Oh yeah, excellent background.
And from there we have the University of Arizona. The Wildcats. Specifically in what town?
Tucson.
Tucson, okay, the southern part of
Yeah, please don't confuse the University of Arizona with Arizona State.
Which is what, Tempe?
Tempe.
And that's the...
That's the suburb of Phoenix.
Oh, okay, and the Sun Devils play there.
Yes.
I think that was Reggie Jackson's school.
I think it was.
Right, a lot of Major League Baseball players came out of there. They were strong college programs.
Yes, they were, yes.
Heavily scouted by Charles Finley, the Oakland owner, Oakland Athletics owner. Okay, so it's out to Arizona, and tell us about your studies there and what was involved with the program.
Well,
for your master's.
At the time, there were only 2 master's degree programs in the country in athletic training, of which Arizona was one. So I decided to go out to Arizona, and my degree is a degree in phys ed, but it's got a specialization in athletic training. And it was 3 semesters. And it was a great experience. I met a lot of good people out there, had a good time. I came back from Arizona, and I was home for a year. I wasn't able to get a job out there. I came back home, and I was home in Lanesboro for about a year. I volunteered myself as an athletic trainer at Pittsfield High School, which is where I did my student teaching. And that's that summer of '76 is when I got the call from Vic about the job at Somerset.
Wow, that's terrific. What was the year of graduation from Arizona with the master's degree?
It was 75.
75, okay. And is that the year that you first came in contact with the pride of Somerset, Jerry Remy? Was he playing out there for the Angels?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I went to a convention. I went to a trainers convention in Anaheim, and I went to a game. The Angels were playing the Brewers, and Jerry was playing second base for the Angels, and Nolan Ryan was pitching that night. Now, the previous outing, he had pitched a no-hitter. So the buzz was, can Nolan Ryan, for a second consecutive outing, pitch another no-hitter? So the convention was at the Disneyland Hotel, which was a short walk from Anaheim Ballpark. So we walked over, and we went and watched the game, and I saw Jerry Remy make a tremendous play at second base to preserve the no-hitter. But unfortunately for Nolan Ryan, I want to say around the 6th or 7th inning, Hank Aaron, who was the DH at the time, Hank Aaron got a hit and spoiled the no-hitter bid. But
at that particular time, the Brewers were in the American
League, yes.
Right, because Hank went from the Braves to the Brewers so that he could be a DH and hang around for a couple more years.
Right.
And he was very friendly with Bud Selig and the Selig family.
Yeah.
They had bought the Brewers, and of course Hank was still great friends with Selig today, Selig, commissioner of baseball. Mm-hmm. So I remember that situation because you had told us about that when you came to Somerset.
Yeah, and I ran into Jerry, Jimmy Sullivan's camp, the Bay State baseball camp. I was working that the first few years as the athletic trainer, and Jerry came down. So I reminded him of that. He said he remembered the play. It was a great play going to his left. He was actually ended up on the outfield grass and sitting on his butt, and he threw the batter out.
Wow.
It was a fabulous play.
That was a fantastic camp run by Jimmy Sullivan.
Yeah.
Local coaches.
Oh yeah, one of the all-time greats.
And a teammate of mine, class of 1957, was an instructor, the late great Jack Furtado.
Jack Furtado, yeah.
You knew Jack.
Oh yeah, I knew
well.
Jack. Oh yeah.
Jack passed away last year.
Yes.
He and I played many, many years of baseball together, both in Little League, going through the ranks. Junior League, mm-hmm. American Legion, high school, and of course we parted ways in college. I went to Providence College, and he went to Durfee Tech, which is now UMass Dartmouth. But we remember Jack fondly as a great player and teacher of the game also. Okay, can we move now to Ed Winslow's football camp, August '76, and you're there, first assignment.
Yeah, that's right. And oh boy, this is something. They told me. They said, wait until ice hockey starts. And I said, what do you mean? Well, he says, yeah, ice hockey coach, he's tough. He probably won't even let you in the locker room. And I said, no, that can't be. And when ice hockey rolled around, no problems. It was a great working relationship that we had, Bob.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Mike. What happened to me was I was junior varsity coach in baseball, junior varsity coach in football, prior to ice hockey. So I was responsible for everything that happened. I was the coach, the administrator, athletic director, and person who had to be involved with injury prevention and treatment because we had no trainer. A lot of times we were on the road. The home team did not provide any kind of person, to supervise
Right,
medically.
right.
So I was used to taking care of injuries myself right on the spot. So I did that in baseball and football. Now comes ice hockey, same situation. The first 4 years, 72 to 76, just prior to your arrival, same situation had occurred. I was more or less, handling any injuries. And I just, in my heart, felt that I knew better and more than anybody else medically, which was definitely poor on my part. And I confess to that, especially after working with you. I learned so much from you that I said, gee, I should have had a guy like Mike Pomerleau in 1962 when I first started coaching. Actually, Jim Sullivan was the one who taught the rest of us to treat injuries and stuff because Jim was a biology teacher and knew all the parts of the body, and he was very strong in anatomy and physiology, kinesiology, and we had some of the phys ed people, Charles Carpenter, Al Estes. They were experts, so to speak, in medical treatment of injuries. So it was a mishmash, but when I took the teams on the road, I was solely responsible. But when you came, it bailed me out, and it's been a lifelong friendship since then. I appreciate the knowledge that you brought to me and, of course, the care that you gave to the athletes. Okay, can we go to some of the football coaches that you worked with after Ed Winslow?
Well, after Ed was Bobby Tavares, and he was there for 5 years, I believe. And then after Bobby was John Wright, and John was there for, I want to say, 8. And then after John was Kurt Smith, and Kurt was there for 2. And then after Kurt was Greg Galligan, and Greg was there for 4. And after Greg, I believe, oh boy, after Greg was, I'm drawing a blank now, Bob. I want to say it might have been Jesse McKinnon.
Yes,
I think
it
might have
was.
been Jesse McKinnon. Yeah,
Jesse played
came in.
at Coyle Cassidy for
Jesse
Steve
was in there.
Winslow.
Jesse also played ice hockey.
Okay, and he's a physics teacher.
He's a physics teacher.
at
Yes.
high school.
Yeah, and when I retired, he was still the head coach. Okay. And I think the year after I retired, he left, and Nick Freitas, the present head coach, took over.
Right, Nick was his chief assistant, defensive coordinator.
Yes.
And from that position, he became head coach.
Head coach, yes.
Rather successful coach, one of the best coaches in the area. I would say ranked close second to Dave Driscoll out of Dighton Rehoboth.
Oh, yeah.
Right, great Somerset athlete. And while we're on that subject, I'd like to thank your lovely wife, Patricia, the former Patricia Driscoll, for allowing you to be in studio today. I know that the family requires your presence for many activities, so we thank Patricia for allowing you to be here today. Now for ice hockey, the winter season, I was lucky I had 6 great years with you. Following me was one of my great players, Claude Tatro, for a couple. Then Jim McDermott for 6 or 7 years, another fellow who was a great hockey player for me, plus JV baseball. And Jim was 3 times Massachusetts State Amateur Golf champion.
Great golfer.
Yep, terrific. Following Jim was, I believe, Joe Prenda. Joe Prenda for 8 or 9 years. Joe was with the Rinks Department of Environmental Management, charge of rinks and parks. And Joe was replaced by Kevin Snyder, who was the present coach. So that takes care of football and the winter season of ice hockey. Tell us about your duties in the spring.
In the spring, I had no specific duty in the spring. I didn't have any games that I actually had to be physically present at. So I kind of roamed around, and I would watch baseball, I'd watch softball, I'd watch track meets. So I really wasn't tied down to any specific athletic event in the springtime. But I did enjoy watching a lot of the softball games, baseball games, track meets, tennis matches.
Many contests, which of course promoted athletics. The girls softball was fantastic for
Yes,
years.
yes.
Ken Day was outstanding coach from the class of 1968. Let's see, baseball, we used to see you all the time. I'd go down to watch Jim Sullivan's group. Following Jim, the great Larry Thomas, who was a star player
Oh, yeah.
for both of us. I had Larry in JV, and of course, great player for Jim in varsity. Got a scholarship to Providence College. And Larry graduated there in '63. 3 youngsters from Somerset High School received the Sportsmanship Award, best representative of the college on and off the field. I was lucky to get that award in 1961. Larry in 73.
73.
Yes, because he graduated Somerset in '69. I heard previously when I spoke on Larry's situation. And then Jim's son, Barry Sullivan, received the award in 1976, was called the Paul Regan Memorial Award, given to the baseball player who best represents the team on and off the field. So that is a magical situation. 3 kids from the same high school
Yeah.
receiving that award. Providence started its baseball in 1921. The school opened its doors in 1917, and first graduating class was 21. Baseball was the oldest varsity sport. And they closed up in 1999 after 78 years, never to be resumed
Yeah, that was
again.
sad.
Very, very sad day. And I noticed you're at Brown University now. That was a big rival in baseball, along with URI. And of course, Boston College and Holy Cross and Northeastern. Some great college baseball played in Providence and the surrounding locale. Okay, so let's see. Track, how about track? You had it, Richard Bernardo. You
Oh,
followed
Richard, yes.
his teams,
Yep.
track, cross country,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Richard Bernardo, one of the all-time greats.
right? John Azevedo, who
John,
worked
yep.
especially with weights and
Yep.
stuff.
John was a great weight coach.
And you covered Doug Chapman in tennis.
Tennis, oh, yeah.
There to
Yep.
help with any kind of injury and stuff.
Not very often. The tennis kids were in good shape, and there were very minuscule amount of tennis injuries that I had to deal with.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. Okay, following Somerset, no, I want to go to the classroom. That's what I want to
Okay.
go. Most popular teacher at SHS, most visible member of the faculty was Mike Pomerleau, because he had 2 courses that he taught, health and of course athletic training, and those courses were by elective method. Students had to sign up. So if too few signed up, you were out of a job. You would not be able to be a teacher because there would be no students to teach. And yet the sign-ups were overwhelming. You had what, 2 classes of students?
For a while, I had two sections. I think when I first started out, I might have even had 3, but eventually it kind of got pared down to 1. But in that one section, I would have 25, 28 students. So it was, even though it was one section, it was good. It was big.
And by emulation, the students wanted to be trainers, doctors, nurses, EMTs, anything in the health industry. That was amazing. You did it with great class and dignity.
Thank you.
And for the ladies to be nurses and EMTs, you handled them with eloquence and elegance.
Thanks.
And for the guys, you were both proud and I would say professional, because they had great respect and admiration for you. Now, we're going to take a look at the highlight of your career, which was the induction in 2009, your retirement year from Somerset. After a grand career of 33 years, you were inducted into the Somerset High School Hall of Fame. Fall River Country Club, we turn the pages back to May of 2009.
We'll say his years 1976, 2009. Service Award winner for recipient for this year, Coach Palm.
I'd like to read a prepared statement for the record. Thank you. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee, of which I'm a part. I told you this was a bad idea. And of course, Doug for his efforts. And I don't know if you all realize this or not, but Doug has, as a coach at Somerset High School, he's won 500 tennis matches.
Yeah.
So, I mean, winning 500 of anything is a major accomplishment. So, I'd like to extend my congratulations to all the other inductees, the 66 football team. All right. I had a whistle in my pocket. But a few other people I'd like to thank. First and foremost are the custodians in our building. There's no way that I, as an athletic trainer or a phys ed teacher, could do the job that I do halfway decently without their support and without the work that they do. I mean, every morning when I go into the building, I go into my office and I can hear my walkie-talkie and people are calling for Curtis, Kenny, Brian, and there's a spill here, there's something going on here, you gotta line the field. These guys are the best, our guys are the best. And I want to thank them first and foremost. I'd like to thank next my sons, Mark and Kevin. They're the lights of my life. And I want to ask their forgiveness for, over the years, not being able to see all of their games. And I want to thank my wife, Patty, who took pity on a country boy from Lanesboro and married me 27 years ago. I also want to thank my father, who flew up here from Florida. So I'm pretty psyched about that. Thank you, Dad. I also want to thank the parents who put their faith and trust in me over the years to take care of their kids. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the trust that you put in me. And I want to thank God for putting me in the right place at the right time. I was very lucky to have been chosen by Frank Kilgrew, the late great Frank Kilgrew, God rest his soul, and that Somerset School Committee. I was fortunate to arrive in Somerset when some legendary coaches were there. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention some of them. First and foremost, Jimmy Sullivan. God rest his soul. Jimmy White, God rest his soul. Bob Souza. They'll never let you in the locker room, they said. And somebody we've already heard from who definitely deserves this honor is Richard Bernardo, Coach B. Over the 99 seasons that I've worked at Somerset, I've taped and evaluated a lot of injuries, and each injury was an opportunity to identify a problem and catch it early and get it treated and get the athlete safely back in the game. And I consider myself blessed to have been able to stand on the sidelines and in a very, very small way, make a small contribution to the greatness of Somerset High School athletics. You just can't walk away from 33 years without saying thank you to all the players, all the coaches, everybody who took me under their wing and helped me along. And I'm really blessed and honored to be here. And thank you very much. And I love Somerset. I always will. Thank you.
Okay, that was great viewing that, Mike. What memories. I know personally, I wish to thank you for the wonderful things you said about me. And of course, I know the Sullivan family would feel the same way. You spent a lot of time with Coach Jim Sullivan, and he was quite a mentor to all of us. I was lucky to have been with him for 15 years in baseball and 9 in football. Also 4 with the late, great Ray McDonald in football. Mm-hmm. Now, Mike, you retired, but you went back to work immediately. You became a Brown Bruin, the Ivy League.
Yeah.
I always knew you were awfully Ivy.
Ivy League. Yeah. I was lucky enough to hook up with Brown Women's Rugby. It's a club sport. It's not a varsity sport. It's a club sport. But they were looking for somebody, and as luck would have it, I know the head trainer there, Russ Fiore, and he said, "I'll hook you up with the women's rugby." And I've been having a great time. They're a great bunch of people. It's an elite program. It's Division I, and we've been ranked in the top 5, top 10. All 4 years that I've been there. We've been to the Final Four 2 times in the 4 years that I've been there. So it's an elite program. I always wanted to work with elite college athletes, and now I have my chance. And it's a great opportunity.
Now, the 4 years you've been there, you made the national finals out in Palo Alto,
The national semifinals twice.
Oh, semifinals.
Yeah.
Palo Alto, California.
Right, at Stanford.
Wow.
We lost in the semis.
Okay.
The 2 times that we were out there.
Now, what was the mode of transportation from Providence to Palo Alto?
The airplane.
Oh, you didn't take the bus?
No bus.
I can recall the many bus rides. We went to Cape Cod together, 4 trips, 6 years, but it was silent. Silence is golden, to and from the games. I'm just thinking, if that would be the same case with the air flight from Providence to Stanford.
No, there was a lot of chattering going on.
And how long did that flight take?
Those were 4 to 6 hour flights.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time to be silent.
Ugh.
Unbelievable. But those are great memories. So you're still employed by the university then?
Yes.
And what is the season? What time of year is rugby played?
Rugby's played in the fall and the spring.
Oh, okay.
We play our conference games in the fall, and then we play what they call friendly games in the spring that will set us up for the tournament, for the round of 16. And once that's done and we've made the round of 16, then we go to various venues to play and advance to the Final Four.
Well, I know one thing. You're a person who's not used to being inactive. You are an active person. And I know that you bring to Brown University the same spirit and enthusiasm that you brought to Somerset, because you were always eager and enthusiastic. And I want to thank you very much for appearing in studio with us today, because you probably taught half of the youngsters in Somerset the last 33 years and influenced thousands of them. So thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure to have Mike with us today. And for Mike, Pomerleau, and myself, we'll be rounding third and heading home. Thank you, Mike.
Thank
You've
you
been
very much,
terrific.
Bob. It was a pleasure. I
Thanks.
enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.